It's almost this like Bermuda Triangle of a place.
So what I was wondering at first, Le Grande is also a town?
It is, yeah. It's another French named town in Oregon. A lot of the towns were named by French-Canadian fur trappers that came over. Oregon was kind of this wild place full of resources, and so there's a town in Eastern Oregon called Le Grande. And when I was first writing the record, I took a trip out to Eastern Oregon and was I wrote one song, Le Grande, about this town and about this town has all these layers of history, and you find that it seems like these different eras are still asserting their identities on this place, and I wanted to write a song about that. And so I wrote this one song about Le Grande, and then also on the same trip, I really feel like I put a lot of my thoughts together about the record I was making, and a lot of things clicked into place at that time. And I think that trip was where it became clear kind of the record that I wanted to make, which I wanted to make something that really confident and something that was without regret, and something that was about moving forward and about asserting your being and what it looks like to assert your being into the world. And so when it came time to name the record, I had this song called Le Grande, and I thought, oh, well, it's a nice name for a record. And at the same time, I'd set for myself this challenge of I really wanted to make a confident record, and almost a record about confidence, and I wanted to really err on the side of confidence. And so if I look back and saw any mistakes, it was these mistakes of being, usually I look back and the things I want to change are things that I was too timid to take that risk, and I wish I would have really taken the risk. And so I wanted to make a record that if I looked back, I could, if I saw failures in it, they were failures that I went for and I tried and failed. And so I said, at some point, said to myself, like, you're going to err on the side of confidence. And so when it came to name the record, and I thought, oh, Le Grande will be a nice name, I kind of as a joke to myself, I realized that in many places you'll see Laura Gibson Le Grande, or Le Grande Laura Gibson, and it will be like I named my record The Great Laura Gibson, or Laura Gibson the Great. And so it was almost this joke to myself of like, all right, it's err on the side of confidence, and then it also is connected to this specific place that I really put a lot of things together for the record.
It's interesting because I didn't make the connection between Le Grande and The Great, but other than that, I think it's interesting because, you've seen the world, you've toured in so many places, and then the place where you kind of find yourself is in such a small town.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's right on the interstate that kind of connects Oregon to the rest of the United States, and I think it's a place that a lot of people just pass through without noticing it, but it's also this place that has a curious energy somehow, and I've talked to so many bands that they've broken down in Le Grande, and it's almost this like Bermuda Triangle of a place, and I just love Eastern Oregon. It's really quiet, and Le Grande is kind of the place where there's a lot of rolling hills and plains, and then all of a sudden you have these mountain ranges, and it's a really beautiful area and a really beautiful part of my home state. And it just happened to be the place where all of a sudden things started making sense for where I wanted to go.
But what's that energy you described? Because you said that other bands
it's really hard to describe other than, like, I feel like a lot of, especially bands that I've talked to are like, yeah, I broke down in Le Grande, and I've broken down in Le Grande, and I've also once played when I was younger, played a basketball game and got a concussion in Le Grande, and so I feel like it's almost like this bad luck town, but I don't think it's necessarily bad luck. I think it's like, I don't know, not to sound all hippy dippy. It's just a funny place and also a really beautiful place, but it seems to accidentally draw a lot of people in, however that works.
I'm sure people who watch the interview will say, let's go to Le Grand next year.
Yeah,
right.
Actually, I went to on the trip out there, I went to this hotel called the Hot Lake Hotel that's right outside of Le Grand, and I was looking at, originally looking at kind of researching historic train wrecks in Oregon, and found out that there was this big train wreck right in front of this hotel, the Hot Lake Hotel. And I Googled it, and so many songs come from Google searches, but I Googled Hot Lake Hotel, and all these ghost hunting websites came up. And I was like, I don't know who these experts are that say this is one of the most haunted places in the United States, but apparently all these websites said it was this haunted place, and so I went out, I visited, and now it's run by this really strange couple, and I don't know if it's haunted, but it's an interesting little spot.